Welcome to today's satsang. A great honor and privilege for me to sit with the Sangha of India and on this auspicious day, we call auspicious day. We will go into that a bit later on. But wonderful to see you. Thank you for joining. I've had a few moments just to be looking at all the faces that are appearing in front of me on the screen. So I'm very, very happy to see you all, and welcome. I know that in India, all over the world, today is being celebrated as a Shivayatri Day, Mahashivayatri Day. Today, our celebration will take the form of satsang. So I'm very, very much present with you, present together for this very purpose. So big welcome to everyone in love and in the singular reality that we are as pure consciousness. And I look forward to our sharing today. I'm very happy to see you. As I said before, I've had the chance to, a few moments before we went on air, to just look over and to see you all. So you're very much registered already in my heart. So big welcome to everyone. And so much joy to see you. So much love. Thank you. So, here we are. I don't think anybody wrote any letters. I don't see any on my table. So we will go. We are live in every sense. And how wonderful, we must also thank Lord Shiva for internet to be used in this wonderful way, that we are using internet in the correct way, I would say. Of course, it's available to the whole of our Maya world, so to speak. Everyone can use it in accordance to their own tendencies. But here we are very happy for the facility of the internet to be able to see each other in real time, apart from the superficial time differences. I can see you face to face in the now. So very good. Thank you. And now, who is going to say something? Or we can sit also for a little bit, I'm very happy. I can just be drinking you in also. And that's also very good. Very happy. Very good. Malini. Here we go. We are just... okay, there you go. What a lovely sight. Wonderful to see.
Charan Sparsh.
Ah.
In Punjabi we say Peri Pehna. Charan Sparsh. Need your blessings and grace. I always feel this every time. And the one thing I'm facing that unworthiness is coming back. Even though I'm feeling more stillness than before. Maximum time I feel peace within and stillness within, but unworthiness still is coming back and back. Yeah. And I just feel that my life, I see my life as dependent on others. Like if they are happy, then I'm happy. This thing is not still sorted out. If their lives are going well, then I feel my life is going well. Somehow I'm dependent on them. I'm not fully inside. That's what I'm feeling. But I know I want to come back to me. Like happiness is within me. I know that.
Okay. How far you must travel?
Yeah.
How far must you travel to come back to you?
Yeah, I know that, but I want this to experience. I understand what I just listened
Yes,
you
you
saying.
spoke many things, that you are experiencing. You're feeling more peace, you're feeling more space, and so on. But these things, it's not merely feeling. And also to feel more grounded. We say that in the beginning, because the sense of I, it still carries the fragrance, or I say sometimes the odor of separation. And this I is strongly connected to mind. So therefore, the mind will not permit you to feel total independence from these, tendencies. It's almost we get hooked because the I, when we say I, we are not yet speaking I as the self as yet. It's like a cocktail, like a mixture between self and person. So there is this. For a very long time, many people who are, of course, consciousness, but they are unaware of it. So therefore, they qualify to be called a person. So for a while, and we don't know how long, we have been living with the identity of only personhood. But for the Sangha now, having spent time together, looking together, going between the layer of the superficial sense of self, you're experiencing, not merely feeling, but you're experiencing the lifting away of the lesser sense of self, of the ego and all of its play. So you're coming more and more into the natural state, which is not a feeling that a person is having so much. When we say, I'm having this experience, somehow I have to point it out because we are still keeping the person who is having the experience. And I'm pointing this out because it is perpetuating a duality, which I'm hoping that when you see, you will gradually transcend. And I don't just want to throw spiritual words at you because you are quite an elevated one for me. We have spoken together about this, but I want to cut this thing. And that is, as long as our self-referral, when we relate about ourself, it still carries the presence of the person still there. And the person can become a spiritual person also, still retaining its autonomy as a person rather than as presence. You see? So these things that we ask for them, don't receive them as gifts. You receive them as the truth of yourself, not a gift, because no gift can last. Because a gift means something other than you that you receive. And I cannot even give you or offer you yourself because it's already there. I can only point out why this mistake is continuing, why we are experiencing, the sense of I'm not there yet, and you're very honest as well too. This is one of your beautiful attributes, I would say, that when I speak with you, you're very honest and very direct and very clear and fearless in that respect. So I got to also meet you in a similar way to match that openness. And what I'm saying is, when you say I find myself unable to be independently happy. I'm happy when others are happy, and that is it's a compassionate trait. But at the same time, the ego mind or the mind is still taking delivery of that, like it's an attribute of the mind. You see, like this. But your compassion springs from your natural self. It's from the nature of the self. Compassion, loving kindness, all these things are there. So you caught my attention when you say, now I want to be independently happy and true and like this. It shouldn't depend on outer. Even if the outer is the most intimate, it's still outer, you see, like that. So that's why I ask you, you say, I want to come home. I said, how much distance is involved? And you say something that I hear often. You say, I know that, but I want to have the experience of this. You see? So this is where our conversation has come to at the moment. So you say, I know this, but I want to have the experience. So therefore, we are admitting that that kind of knowing and the direct experience are different.
Yes.
You see, what will it take? You see, because when you were sleeping, you had no experience of family, of feelings. I'm not talking about dream now. I'm talking about deep sleep. None of these things are there. You know, your qualifications and characteristics as a person is not there. When you were in deep sleep, you know, why they were not there. The things you call the most intimate, not there. Even when we speak about God, our idea or concept of God, not there. Even the idea of I, which is the most important, because everything else sprouted out of the seed of I. But even this I is not there, you see. And you're quite happy in sleep. Nothing troubles you. There's no fear because there is no other there. But then the waking state come, and the I comes up, and the I arises. Now we must look at what is this I that arises. It's very important. What is the nature of it? Are you following me also?
Yes.
Yeah. So I can talk a bit more slowly if others are looking in, of course. If you wish that I speak more slowly, because I don't want that it's missed. Of course, if you're deeply interested, deeply earnest about these things, you will. I will slow down for you. If you have not caught it, it won't matter if I slow down. If the one has no interest, which is fine also, then it doesn't matter if I slow down. But so one thing I can say is when the I arises again. So please listen to what I'm saying now. Will you admit that the sense of I reappears at the beginning of the waking state, isn't it? Yes, nothing mystical about it. I'm just very clear for everybody's experience, whether you're religious, spiritual, or atheist, it's the same. At the beginning of waking state, the most pronounced thing that will come is a feeling of I. So one thing I want to say, if the I appeared, it must appear in something that was there before it. Would we not say that? If I also appear, because in the deep sleep it was not there, so if the I arise, it must arise or appear into a space that was there before. What is this space that was there? And it's not just a space like some inert space. You understand what I mean by inert, meaning that lifeless. It's not the I, which you call yourself, did not appear in a dead space. An intelligence is there. Something witnesses even this I that is arising. This is very subtle now, and I would like to I'm looking at all your faces, and this is going to be my time together with you. I hope it's going to be an interactive time. I'm not today's showing. We are looking together, no? So this is very important for me when I say this, as much as you're able to grasp what I say. So when the I arise, the I feeling comes, is it witnessable or not? Is there an awareness that I is up? It's very, very, I take my time. And that now you say, oh yes, now I'm awake. Okay, now I need to make breakfast and do it. The I start to speak like that. But it arises in a field of awareness that perceives this I feeling arising. This is very, very subtle, very acute though, and very important to the rest of the conversations I hope to have with you today. That weakness of the I is very natural. It's your most natural. You are that one also. And the I that arises Of course, it's the familiar sense of I, and the operational I that we are so used to. And I'm not going to try and say, oh, that's bad, kill it and nothing. No, no, no. Just that you are first aware of the feeling of I. And we can go a bit further, that even the I that you can see as we begin to speak and think is the I that has a particular identity, particular tendencies and characteristics. So that means it is a kind of political, it's not, I was going to say political, not political, it could be, but it's a particular mode of conscious expression. It becomes very personal. I need to do this, and so, I need to get in touch with my uncle, and da-da-da-da. What we call the daily activities of life are unfolding. But there is, even in the heart of that, a knowingness, an awareness, but no one pays attention to it. We tend to include that into the I person. And so I don't know if I'm trying to find the easiest way, but somehow I find my mouth is speaking like that in this way right now. That when you speak of yourself, referring to yourself, it carries the fragrance of a kind of spiritual-minded person, of course. But you say, I want to be grounded in my original nature, you see? And the original nature is never apart from you. It is always here also. And you say, but how can I find it? And that the words that come like that shows that the weight and the strength of your identity rests with the person, who is the sense of the one who will do something, who will discover something, who will experience something. And I can ask all of you, whatever experiences that we have had, whatever things we have studied, everything comes and goes, come and go. Everything is coming and going. Every experience you have had come and go. And good that it goes, because where are you going to put all this stuff? So everything is coming and going. You just have to be very clear that if you are searching for the one thing that doesn't come and go, then you will become very clear, well, yes, all these ideas I've had, I've tasted so many I have so many experiences, but they've all come and gone. What is it that even notices the coming and the going of all these things? They come and go. Does that come and go? At a certain point, you will even see that even sleep also comes and goes. Waking state also come and go. Waking up will come and go. Dreaming come and go. Sleeping come and go. They are rotating states. And there's an awareness of it. Now, in the beginning, it can feel like very unfamiliar territory for many people when we speak. When I'm pointing to this place, it feels like it's some distance, it's so high, it's so deep. But it's only because the mind, we are so habituated to our personal thinking, it makes that which is real seem far away. But I want to show you, but not in a way that feels like it's something outside of you. I want to show it within you. And that is not the case. Everything else is else. All our thoughts, projections, memory, desire for future, identity, all of this is passing. In the short time of a human life, we amass so many things that we think, yes, all these things we have worked for, we got them all together, but at some point they're all going to go. And then that may produce some sadness in the heart of some people, but what I'm trying to point to is something infinitely greater than that, which is your own self. And I know that it is not grasped simply because I say that. It's a bit more subtle than this. At best, if you have not fully grasped it, I can hope to kickstart you into your own place. I don't want to give you any concepts. Enough concepts. What concepts do you need just to be here? But beyond your person. You see, at the moment, our person feels like it's what is here. The person also comes in and out of focus every day, many times. You are not functioning as person, but you're not aware of that, you see. So I am with you. We can...
Baba, I want to ask you
yes.
that when I'm feeling sometimes bliss, sometimes peace, sometimes love, is that also a person, or that is a true nature?
Well, the bliss is fine. The bliss is the self. The person is not true. You see, you say, I'm feeling bliss, I'm feeling peace, and so on. Is that also untrue? No, the bliss is true. The peace is true. But they will not stay with the person. As long as you are experiencing them in the name of a person, you see, because the person itself comes and goes, then the person will experience that these beautiful, the bliss and joy and peace, they will come and go because the person is not stable. The person also come and go. You see, let me explain. Let me explain. You say that, okay, say it again for me, what you said just now.
I'm saying sometimes I feel bliss.
Yes.
Unconditional bliss.
Yes.
And I feel body becomes very light.
Yes.
At that moment.
Yes.
The vibrations is going up.
Yes.
Everything is like, body is like 100,000 bulbs are
Yes.
on, like
Yes.
in the body.
Yes.
I'm feeling bliss.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm feeling love.
Yes.
Even for animals, everyone.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel peace. But it goes. Why it goes then?
Okay, stop. Let me tell you now. Because actually, in your life, you have attained much purity. Purity means that you're very eligible for awakening, for enlightenment, isn't it? Because everyone has this potential, but not everyone is demonstrating this capacity. What's happening is that your personhood is dissolving more and more, and in the absence of the personhood, these states of bliss and joy and peace are more accessible because they are being experienced because of your true self. The person is the problem, not the coming and going. The coming and going only appears. We say that the sun comes and goes, but the sun doesn't have any experience of coming and going. It's only to the one who is looking and see the sun as though it is other, perceive the sun is coming and going. You see, you are that bliss. When you identify not as the person, but as the bliss itself that you say you experience, as the peace, these are the fragrance of the self. But it's as though when you speak from the one who gets it and then lose it, that one is the mistake. That one is the false I, the person. And that person is the only thing that as you see it, it will thin away. And then you will find that the bliss is always with you. The peace is always with you. Because that is your fundamental fragrance and nature. But when the person is there, any personal tendency, the person itself, because it is not stable and not reliable, then everything the person experiences is unreliable and unstable. You see this? I can say it again because it's worth saying.
It's very deep, actually.
No, it's not that it's so deep. It's very simple. What's happened is that because the reflex is you're listening from the place of the sense of person with the identity of person, and somehow the personal mode of consciousness is a bit resistant to the deeper awareness, which is actually very simple, is what they are. That's what you are. You see, when I see you, even though you speak a little bit like the person, I see you only self. That's why the satsang is only, the self is conversing with the self and showing, as long as you keep holding this thing, the thing will feel like this. And, if I ask you to give up, give up this thing, you're quite willing. But I say, disregard your I, then everybody's confused. Because everyone is holding on to the I, which is personal. Then this personal I must become the presence I. All these things are without you. You don't have to reach to get anything at all. Everything is, we are only peeling away the onion skin of false ideas a little bit. And you will see for yourself.
Abba, why the feeling of unworthiness comes back and back? Why?
Yes, it has nothing to do with you. Unworthiness has got nothing to do with you. The mind can give you, after you get too receptive, once you have accepted the false identity, and we all do, we all carry the label of I am the body, I am this person, I am my conditioning. Once that is embraced, we didn't remember doing it very consciously, but somehow we come to believe it. Then you can believe any other kind of thing. Somebody will say yes, they will explain where did this feeling of unworthiness come from. And some people try to trace it and say, yes, it started with my this and that. And that may be the case. But I am saying all these things are false. All these things are false. I don't want to go down this road to give, an analysis of what is false. It's only because you believe them, then they become functional in your life. And whether you believe, one person believes, I am unworthy, another one believes that, I am very, very educated, I'm very special, I'm very ripe, another one believes this, another one believes that. Everybody is believing something which is untrue. And that untruth is already a heavy tax to carry inside the system, because the person is a very dense form of consciousness, and stubborn, So it takes a lot of, I just say it takes more understanding, which is why we are here today. These things, don't believe, I have this unworthy feeling. It's coming from the wrong place. It's Maya. It's a Maya identity. It's not you. You are the self. You are by nature pure and happy naturally. Even happiness you don't have to seek. If you can transcend the I person, happiness is naturally here. Peace is naturally here. And these kind of feelings such as unworthiness, they will not be there. They're not even here now. It's only because of the, what I would call the tendencies that we have developed mentally. They're all from the mind, all the mind.
Baba, I want to ask one more thing.
Okay.
In India, we all believe about planetary positions, 9 planets.
Yes.
In India, we believe in planets.
Yes.
Planetary positions affects our life.
Yes.
So,
before you believed in planets, you believed in your I concept. You see, first you are the consciousness. First the sense I arise. Just imagine for a moment, if the sense I arise, if it doesn't touch anything else that arise, you are with me. You understand perfectly. It starts to collect so many ideas. And yes, we can say from the perspective of astronomy, astrology, certain spiritual, you see, the self is manifesting all this knowledge. But do you need them? You will need them more and more. The more that you are identified as a person, then these things become more relevant for the person. I want to take you all beyond this thing, because the person, whatever the person achieves in this life, it will be lost. I want to show you that which will never be lost, in which you are naturally happy, naturally yourself. Your father-in-law, your Papaji, is teaching this. Well, he taught also myself also.
thank you.
You see, so now You escaped him. You must not escape me.
No,
And this is
not at
why,
all.
yes. So
Don't even think about it.
yes, I'm not thinking about it. This is why I called you also to say, for you, it will not be so difficult. It's not difficult. Not on heritage only, but just because I sense within you the capacity and I would say the qualification for all the highest thing that you can speak about, which is the self and the realization of the self. It will not be so difficult. You will conquer it. It's a question of time, and I don't want to give time too much advantage.
So I have to come, make my way.
Well, earlier than that, earlier than coming, and earlier than going. If you don't come and you don't go, okay, this is not a riddle. If you don't come and you don't go, what are you? Even now. You just this is for everybody. If you don't have to go somewhere and you don't have to arrive here, it means you're already here. Is this going too fast for you all, you guys? If you don't have to go somewhere and you don't have to arrive here, then where am I to find this thing? You see, the mind is fighting this. The mind is saying, no, this doesn't make sense because I feel separate, and you believe more in your separation. You don't even have to believe in your unity. But because you believe separation, now you have to first believe in unity, that it's possible. And these things, what I'm pointing to, is the most natural. I'm not going to ask you to create anything at all, because all creation is a liquid process. It's always changing. What is it that's uncreated? And you have to be up for it, you see. Don't not just mentally, because if it's mentally, we're going to talk for hours and hours. But you have to be here to grasp without imagination also. Imagination not required. So right now, as your eyes are here closed with me, and I see that you're present now, don't pick up any thought at all for a moment. Don't touch any thought for a moment. Let everything, even the sense of I, don't hold anything. Just as though like you are here, but you're not a container. So whatever arises just blows through you. Nothing's stopping. Everything is gone. Everything can just move. You're not a container. You're not holding anything at all. Not even one concept you can hold. Everything is just floating through. So if you are not a shape, then what is your size? You're not a shape. You're not the form. Because all forms are in time and are subject to change. Something witnesses time and change. Okay? Don't look to find that thing has no shape. That's why I say remain shapeless. And something in you knows my words. Stay shapeless. I don't say become. I say stay shapeless. Okay? Okay? What do you need? Don't touch mind. You see, the shape is not the problem, but the identity with the shape is causing trouble. So don't identify with anything at all. Stay shapeless. And now, don't imagine, just look. Imagination is already late. Don't create anything at all. Don't imagine, don't create, don't wait, don't identify. Don't take any shape. You're here, isn't it? You're here. But as what are you here? Any trouble? No movement. Don't touch any movement. Let everything be there, but don't combine anything with yourself. Are you drifting? No. To drift, you have to have a shape. What is here, you see? What object do you want?
Nothing. Everything is passes.
Everything passing.
Okay.
Yes, 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 yes. That which witnesses that everything is passing, is that passing?
No.
No. No. Does it need anything at all?
No.
No. Can it leave?
No.
Did it come?
No.
No. This is yourself. This is the very heart of yourself. Everything is fine. Everything came out and appears in this space of yourself. And it is fine. And because they arises in you, you love them, you take care of them, it's fine. But you're not attached to anything at all. When you're not attached, when you don't desire things, then your love is set free. And it's beautiful. Is there time there? What time is it there in this place?
No time.
No time. Okay. Are you a mother here or a daughter here?
No.
No. All these are roles that happen and they're fine. Everything is fine. In fact, when you are not none of these things, the roles you play are beautiful. They're happy. The love is beautiful because it doesn't want anything personal. It's giving everything. You see, today we say, oh, happy Shivayatri Day, happy Shivayatri Day, like that. But Shiva is not, oh Shiva, I prostrate today, I give my life to you, words only. He is not wanting that. When you see that all is Shiva only, who am I to give Shiva anything? Shiva is pure consciousness. So Shiva is all, nothing is separate from Shiva, including even the sense of the one praising Shiva, is caused by Shiva. Where will you place your identity, you see? And this is why it was very important for me to ask you, will this go away? What you are aware of now, not what you are imagining, not what you are creating, but what is, can it go away? Everything is coming and going, not this. This is the one thing not going. And this is the timeless, the eternal one. Today you meet Shiva inside your own self. And I ask you, don't imagine, because imagination will fail you. Don't create, because creation is in time and it will go. But this is uncreated, you see. And so it's always here. Even when the body goes, this is always here. Everything comes and goes inside the Supreme Lord of the universe. You just meet Him, which is not different from you. No duality in that meeting. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
you.
Thanks to you. Thank you. Good, 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 good. Okay. Who is ready?
Pranam Muji Baba.
Yeah. Thank you.
Muji Baba, I am here to report. I have been in your grace for the last 1.5 years, around that time.
Yeah.
And over these 1.5 years, I have moved from being a seeker to gradually settling into the beingness of myself.
Ah.
I have been kind of put into this fire all of a sudden. I was not a seeker prior to that. And having put into this fire, all around me, I was in an environment which required a lot of my time and things like that. For a while, I felt that I must move away from all this, because with this I cannot, in a way, progress on what I am seeking, or what the truth that I am seeking myself.
I hear you. Yes.
Yeah. And then I realized that this canvas can change, but it is not going to change anything, because this canvas is the very one that I need to transcend. And unless I can do that, it doesn't matter whether I am here or in any other part of the world. And therefore I continued and watched whatever was appearing here. And in that appearance, I tried to expose what was being seen, trying to seek the very one to whom all these appearances are appearing.
Yes.
And each time I would come to the nothingness where there is nothing there. I mean, once that is exposed, then in a while, whatever anxiety or whatever appears in it, and the kind of torch that was held in my hand was leading me to back there, and I worked around that. And I continue to do so. Now, of course, for a while I meditated for a long time, the kind of regimental meditation, but now meditating or no meditating also, in a way, does not appear to be a requirement in any way, that this must be done or this must not be done.
Yes.
And yet in the times that we are in, a lot has been tested. And each time these tests are appearing in front of me, I take these tests as the one that needs to be transcended, because if it is giving me some kind of a sense of a doership while it is happening, then there is still work to be done.
Okay.
And that is my earnest prayer today.
Okay.
That whatever needs to appear must finish off.
Thank you.
And I must establish myself in the truth of myself.
Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. I believe what you have just shared, and I can see what you've just shared, it's very important also for the whole group who are listening, and for what I will share with you also about it. And because when we speak in satsang like this, I don't refer or relate to you, your situation, circumstances may be unique, but as consciousness, we are one. And so I speak from the place of consciousness into the consciousness that you are. So everyone can relate to that. And if we listen, you will find that we all can relate and find richness in everything we share. Now you've said, Nilesh, that you came and by looking, you came to nothingness. You came to the nothingness at all from there. Okay? So I would say to you now, if you come to the nothingness, then one thing that might be causing trouble is that you are almost sometimes perceiving the nothingness from a somethingness place. You are not separate from the nothingness is been turned into an objective, an object subject for you. Like, yes, I can feel the nothingness, but some people have said to me, yes, I saw the nothingness, but somehow I came out of it, or I want to be embraced. And so this I, any I that's left over, is not the emptiness. The emptiness that you are seeing is the emptiness that is yourself. It's a non-dual recognition. Am I speaking too quickly? I'm looking at you all. It is a non-dual. It's not like, yes, because we are so used to the traditional way of seeing. Like, my eyes are here, my eye is here, and I'm seeing that or this, I'm seeing some. So everything appears as an object and separate from me. But when you come to the emptiness is not an object. I'm not talking about if you're in a room and in night and you turn off the light, somebody say, oh, it's all empty in here. I'm not talking about that kind of empty. It's not just a physical emptiness. I'm talking about the emptiness where nothing at all is existing independent of this. The nothingness is not a phenomenon. The nothingness is not an experience someone is having. The nothingness includes the one who is also perceiving the nothingness. Now, have I gone too far in saying this? Because what can happen is that we can feel like, yes, I came to the place of nothing and so on. No? Now, let me just say this, and I want to address the second part of what I've heard you say. That nevertheless, you said actually that I've seen that it doesn't really matter what come and go, and even meditation and so on. They're not such, I don't have to be regimental about anything. I can meditate if I want to or so on, but something is much more stable. Is much more here than meditation. Meditation is an instrument, in a sense. It's like an act to try and get to somewhere. But I am that somewhere that the meditation is leading to, without arrogance. Can we say like this? Without the meditation, the purpose of the meditation, and even the meditator, is to reach that place which you already are, that you have come to notice. Not everybody grasps that. We still feel, I came to the emptiness, but then I couldn't go any further. How you can go further? Further than emptiness is to dissolve your separate identity. That is the emptiness itself. Now, however, it may still appear that there is still some sense of a person carrying on life, and this body is not an anti-awakening instrument. This body is also here. It's got to be used to do its function. It's going to continue functioning. But it's functioning not in service to the limited person, which is also an aspect of consciousness, but a very, very dense and contracted form of consciousness. That contracted form of consciousness is liberated now. It's it's limitless. I want to know if you're all understanding what I'm speaking, because I can try and talk on some other level with you, but I feel I'm in the right company, So then we say, in spite of this, yes, the functioning of life still continue, but now you are not an enemy to life, and life is not an enemy to you. It is only when we picked up the identity of the person, then the struggles come. All the struggles are going to come for the person. You see? Paramatma made it like that. So that you will, when you are growing, you will come to a point you will not find any satisfaction in just being person. So you will have to transcend the person. Don't grieve at this and feel, oh, I'm giving up. No. The one who feels that will not go beyond, will not attain the perfect state. You are seeing, oh my God, everything, even my troubles are serving my awakening. Even my difficulties, now by grace, has been transformed into opportunities for transcendence. If you are going to be saying, oh, this thing I was going so well, but then, somebody stole my car, and I just say, whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, is only the car they stole? Did they steal you? If somebody, hijacked you, took you away, did they steal your consciousness? So maybe my words are not so, they're not so, what's the word? No, palatable. Because the mind is still there. And it's not a blame, because I'm saying that mind also will keep being there as long as it's getting some food. When I say mind, I'm talking about the psychological mind in which we have a strong relationship with our identity in that mind. The not regular mind that you need for practical life, that's fine. But I'm talking about the mind, with the psychotic mind, the mind that has issues with life and with identity. This kind of mind grows with and resists the full darshan of seeing. And you are aware of it also. But something goes back there because you still have the feeling, yes, in that mind state, in the personal state, we have a lot of aspiration, we have a lot of desires that you want to fulfill. And I'm only just looking and say, but you're already living in answered prayers. That one time was like, oh, if only. You're living in your if onlys now. And they're not enough. Which desire is going to be enough? So this is why the scriptures have told you, watch out for this desire. Let natural desires happen and be fulfilled, but don't run after desire. And you will only keep running after fulfilling desires because the one thing to be recognized is in the heart of your being itself. And this is what this satsang, this very moment, is being presented in the name of that Shiva being which sits in the heart of all beings. That is what we are, and it is what humanity largely, we have overlooked it. I don't put any blame, it's just this is the Maya show. But some are coming out of it, no? You see, if the fisherman goes out in a big boat and he throws his net and he catches hundreds of thousands of fishes, okay, and they're pulling them in. This is going to be ending up on somebody's table, in somebody's restaurant, all is coming. But some fishes near to the net, they come out, they go back into the ocean and fly away, they get away. You see? So most of humanity is caught in the net of Maya. But some are designed to escape from this net. They are the ones who come to satsang. One moment. I got to get the voice. It's coming. You have to unmute yourself.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So, Mujaba, the play that carries on with the conditioning that has been in the past, and that also I can see that it is becoming thinner and not so prominent in its appearances. And yet, like I was saying, that when it appears, when you look for the source of that identity, you find nothing. And that was the nothing I was referring to then.
Aha.
And at the same time, but it is proliferating.
Yes.
At the same time, it is proliferating. When situations appear, some of them you are identified with, given the nature that we have had in the past. So it proliferates, and yet it does not go away by itself. And what I can then do in that moment is just keep looking at it and accept it as it is. And
you don't accept it as it is. You accept it as your mind perceive it to be. Can I go on a bit on this?
Yes.
Yeah. Nobody sees things as they are. We see them as we have been conditioned to perceive them, based upon the state of personhood. So this is the thing. Everything is hinging on the person. If I was to tell you that all the troubles in life, all the suffering and the pain and anxiety and all the dreams and the projection, the desires and attachments, all the things that bring suffering onto the being is due to one thing, and that is ego. And ego doesn't mean banging on your chest. Ego just means the belief, I am this body, I am the doer of my life, I am the thinker of my thoughts. You see? But we are looking for so many cures to the ails of humanity, but nobody will accept this. Because we have so much projections, desires, hopes and aspirations in personhood. So I am not going around beating a drum about it. It's enough that by grace of God, those who feel drawn to it, somehow I meet some of them and we sit and we can look together like that. So I want to come back to your point though, because it's a good one. You say, I come to nothing. When I look at the root of my problems and what's going on, so I come to nothing, but it still proliferate. And if you please bear with me for a moment, what happens is that you say also another thing, they don't go away by themselves. Well, actually, everything goes away by itself, maybe not not at the time you'd love it to go, but they cannot stay. Because all things that are born in the mind, they are tourists. They come and they go. They come and nothing can stay. Nothing at all can stay. Not even you. Not everything is coming and going. So everything is coming and going. Even your idea about yourself, you cannot stay with. Come and go also. So what I'm saying is, though, in the moments when you say that they proliferate, they keep coming back sometimes even more intensely, it seemed, than before. You see? Because there's a smell of death for the ego. And so it gets even more, it comes more strong sometimes. And you have not really fully understood. You're saying, why is it getting worse? It should be getting better. Like you're going so really, really strong. It's proliferating. Something's proliferating. But you're witnessing this proliferation and believing also that this means all things are getting worse for my person. For my person. And when you see that, you must be in the place where you are also must admit, but I'm the witness of the person. But right at that point, you start to see your sense of your false treasures. You see, the false gold is this person that you're trying to, in one way, trying to make the person better, get the person's situation and circumstances better. But everything is only for a while. But when I point you to the awareness itself, you see, even in those turbulent moments, in those tsunami moments, I would say, yes, so your attention is very strongly pulled to get hands-on with the situation, isn't it? Yes, it's like a reflex to try and make things right there. And what I'm saying here...
No, it is not that I am pulled into doing it. It is seen that these appearances are there or they are perceived in the way they are perceived by me. And they go by itself. I mean, I'm not suggesting that I put them away or they go by itself.
Yes.
But keep coming back again and again, and I keep seeing it again and again till it fills out. And I guess that's the nature of how it is. For me.
I am very interested in what you're saying right now because I feel that it is such a broad thing, and broad in the sense that everybody have a taste of this. You say now that you're not saying that they pull you into them, but they proliferate. Why should they proliferate? They can only proliferate on your attention.
I see it that way, that they proliferate because the identity itself is hatching on to that mind and it just wouldn't leave it.
Yes.
And if it doesn't leave it, it cannot go.
Yes.
And that is why it proliferates. I see that too.
Okay.
But then there is nothing I can do about it.
Okay, good. Okay, then the only thing you can do is to continue, because in the moment when the pulsation is strong with these things, you see, it's as though it's eclipsing your intuitive stability and recognition in the heart. Some energy is going towards seeing this proliferation also. That is understood, that's understandable, but we must stay with it as much as possible to find again that somehow this place. It's like if you've been listening, if you've been listening to, you're sitting in your room, you have the television on, you got the music going on, and you can't turn the TV off for some reason. It's just going on like this, no? And then you switch it off, and it's a beautiful silence, no? But that silence was also always there, always there. But the noise seemed to eclipse it. But for you now, it's something even more subtle. I say you must make use of that. That don't mind this thing for a moment. Rather than try to do anything about that, try and bring the attention to the natural awareness which must be there for the noise to be there. The awareness is not the noise, but the awareness of the noise indicate that the pure awareness is here. And with staying with that, even if it feels like you fail, keep staying with it. And, all things come right with that earnestness to stay with it. What I would say also, I remember once I went on one course many years ago in Coimbatore for detoxing. Many years ago, I had a chance to go there. And I didn't know anything about these things. But I was told that what they were doing, they are massaging every day. I said, sometime I want to go for a walk. I want to do it. They said, no, you mustn't do any exercise. So what is this? No, I'm just eating a little bit of food and they massage. Then they explained to me that they're massaging, they're pushing all the toxins towards my stomach. That was the idea. They're pushing all this toxins in the body towards the stomach. And then at a certain point, everything is there. After quite a while, they do that, okay? And then they give you something, and then you have this big whoosh, okay? Then, whoa, that's it. Fast. So, in the same way, I'm using this as a metaphor, some analogy for this thing. Sometimes you have to... When these things are going on, your attention is not so attracted to satsang. No, you particularly, but sometimes our attention is like caught in the traffic of these movements. But as soon as you make even the small step, go and sit and simply say, okay, let them play, but I don't touch anything at all, touch nothing at all. You start to find again the ground. You stay just in that ground, and somehow it's like something is marinating in that inwardness, like this. And gradually these things are just, they're drifting because they cannot stay with you. For something to keep appearing, it must be appearing in front of something, an interested party. And by interest, I don't mean positive interest, it can be negative interest also. So, when I say something is coming, you don't want it, it's still an attraction for it. You want it, it's an attraction for it. You don't want it, it's an attraction for it. But when you are not at all interested in that, when you only shift your attention to the deeper awareness, then these things don't matter. And one of the ways in which we experience that things fall away is when their significance has dropped away for you. Can I say like this? Sometimes we want to actually take something, throw it across out of the world, and we fight to do that. But I'm saying also, we are always fighting with something that has meaning for you. But what happens when something becomes insignificant for you? It amounts to the same thing. There's no attraction for it. It dies right there. So how this dropping away of the attraction towards these things happen? By as your attention is resting inside the self, then everything comes to naught. Like this. Now you may say, but that's an experience also that will change. Maybe for a time, but the more you stay with this, you'll find that you are, if say, I'm not going to tell you do this for 10 minutes, I'm just saying just stay with this. And you'll find that more and more the energy, the grace that arises from the self is permeating every aspect of your expression, is touched by that grace more and more. So this is where I would advocate to stay with something, practice, stay with this a little bit. And then you'll see at some point you will outgrow these things. They will not be able to stick. This happened like that.
Baba is seen, all this is seen in that space, this appearance, this disappearance, this whole play, that presence or that peace hasn't left me for a while. And unless, it's a arduous situation once in a while where I get caught into the play in a way that I am not aware of myself, mostly this is happening within it.
Okay.
And to that extent, it is there, but it is still proliferating. I don't know. Sometimes even that thought appears and it experienced in that way that
Yes.
it should all be surrendered right here, right now.
I'm with
But
you,
then-
Nilesh. That they are appearing. Supposing these things would be appearing for the rest of your physical life. Suppose it was going to appear. Will it rob you of freedom? This is important. So what happens is many things in the world will not appear to change. Many things may go on, but it's you who have changed. You've changed back into yourself. No? So they become less important for you. You see? So, because sometimes when you want something to change, it feeds it. Like the mind feeds on resistance. You see? So that's why I say that
Like
gradually.
a seed. It's like a seed which stays there, and once in a while it will kind of become a shoot, and that play of
Well, something
duality
sometimes.
kind of moves
Yes.
in.
Sometimes God gives us this seed because maybe if you had nothing at all, you probably get into trouble something. Sometimes, you need some tension. We need a little tension to exercise our discernment, to sometimes dig, to go in. Sometimes a little calamity helps you to tighten up in your sadhana, whatever it is, Just give everything the highest reading. Whatever happens, give it the highest reading. And then you'll find that you're fine, you're okay with it for now, Because you are always, nothing takes you out of your truth. You understood the truth is not something you believed in your head. Truth is the core of your very existence. You see?
Thank you, Murli Baba.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for this talk. Very good.
And this is the best thing that could have happened to this life.
Yeah, very good.
I don't know how to express my gratitude for it, but whatever it is, thank you.
Thank you, Nilesh. Thank you. Let's have a breather for a few moments. Because sometime in satsang, many of you have not seen for a while. I'm very happy to see you. But sometimes in satsang, the very nature and the habit of satsang, the mind itself is putting questions. Yeah, I want to ask this question in satsang. If you're not able to ask any question, would you be unable to be with me in this moment? So this is very important for me to put, you see, because sometimes a question can get in the way even. Sometimes I want to show you about questions. Sometimes the questions are blocking your natural deepening. Sometimes I see people come and they have a question, and if they don't get answered, they miss the old satsang. Because they're waiting for their question to come. He didn't choose me again. And then the mind goes, you see, he's rejected you. You see? So watch out for this type of thing. The question, maybe I've already answered your question, if you're smart. But I've not answered the question the way your mind wants it to be answered. And if you're going to try and please your mind with questions and answers, you'll miss the point. I have not answered your question in its probably particular way, but I've answered you as consciousness. Sometimes if you grasp and clarify a single seed of mistruth, the power of that revelation can be enormous impact. So watch this thing. So right now, for a moment. Let's just put all our questions down for a moment. All your needs and the seeming needs, just put them down. Trust me on this one. Put it down. All your projected duties and aspirations, put them down. Put them down. In a way that you become entirely empty of intention. Even the intention for liberation. What's it like if you can leave everything? I want to see if I can get to a moment with you without next. Not like the next tick of the clock. No, without next, meaning leave everything. The previous moment, the present moment, and the following moment. So I'm not a time moment. I'm saying just a now moment. To leave everything. Don't hold any shape in the mind or any intention or any desire, even auspicious ones. Be totally empty. But not waiting for something. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. But don't search. Don't search. There's nowhere to go. But looking from nowness into nowness itself. Not searching for any object. So the beingness is not aimed outwardly. It is resting in its own self. No pictures, please. No waiting. No memories. Meaning, even though phenomenally they may appear, don't engage in anything at all. So you're totally empty. Give the body and mind a proper rest for a moment. Don't pick up one thing at all. Don't touch one letter from the alphabet. Nothing. Beyond even trying now. So don't even identifying, well, I've got to do. Don't even touch this one. That is emptiness itself. And not waiting. I want you to be aware of what is really here by itself, which requires no effort at all. It has no shape. So don't imagine, even if the mind or some images are created somewhere in the space of the mind, don't touch them. This has got nothing. This is not the moment now. This is only totally empty of any intention at all. So you're not taking any impression from any of the senses at all. Even if they happen, it's okay. So your attention is only in this space. Now, if you have done this, I want to just ask a few questions with you again now. And I will ask you to nod or to say yes or no. Simple thing. It will only be made possible and fruitful if you have done what I've asked, which is just to stay empty. in this emptiness, this space, is it a mood or a feeling here? Would you say that what is really here, is it a mood or a feeling? You can shake your head no, or yes, you can say. Okay. And is there any shape you can say, okay, now I'm seeing this shape. I'm discovering some particular shape. Is there any shape here at all? Any object at all? No. Stay as you are. Stay just here. Without constructing or imagining anything at all. That which is, whatever, let's just call it, I call it the isness, as you know, that's that space. Does it have any limit, any boundary beyond which it does not exist? Look. You're not looking with your physical eyes, not just looking with your mind. Mind also can be seen. This, whatever it is, I'm not going to call it a name right now. Is there any limits here at all? So I just want to see some response from you that you have really understood what I'm saying. Okay. So, this that is, can it say become sick physically or mentally? Can it become depressed in some way? Whatever is here, whatever it is. No, it cannot. It cannot become sick. Does it have any opinions? Are any opinions here at all? Any projected opinions about life or anything like this? No. Is it just like a blank? Is it a blank or something more subtle than that? It's a blank? No, it's not a blank. This that is, that you're aware of here, is it a happening? Is it something happening here? Does it have did it come from somewhere? Has it arrived here? No. Can it leave? Can it leave? Just stay as you are. No effort at all. Simply in your awareness, you can say. Can it fade? Like after a few hours or a few days, it fades and it disappears. Can it disappear? Your response is very important for this. It cannot disappear. It cannot disappear. Did you create it? No, you did not create. Does it judge anything or anyone? Is any judgment there? Is there any fear here? Is it afraid, any fear? No. May I ask you, I think I asked you in one question before, but did it start or was it born, what you are perceiving, aware of? No. So, of course, my next question is, can it die or end? No, it cannot. Now, may I ask you, is it something that you must keep? Can anybody keep it? Or lose it? No. now, how far away is it from you? Is it separate from it? Can you reach and touch it? Are you different from it? No. And this is why I asked you to leave everything, your usual habits of mind, your usual concepts, to leave them all aside, leave aside. Because only when you are free from this daily mindset could I ask you questions like this. Because some people would feel that they are unanswerable. But here you can respond from your own seeing. Are you under a state of hypnosis? No. So if the questions you've put is as I've understood them from your responses, that is not an object, it's not a mood, it is not limited in the sense that you come to a boundary beyond which it is not. If there are no judgments in it, if it did not come and it cannot go, it cannot fade, it cannot be lost, it cannot be kept. It was not born, it cannot die, and it is no distance from you. Then therefore, I must say, it must be you. It must be you, what you are. Not what you have thought you are, not what the world tell you are, not even what your family or your race or your religion or whatever is not. Maybe people say different things. But here is your direct discovering. Then what of the life that is being lived, and somehow people say, oh, I might have so much difficulty in my life, and so all of this is mind and identity that arises inside this unnameable awareness, and which has been taken, these things have been accepted to be true because we believed in this idea, I am this body and I am my conditioning. The conditioning is a play in Maya, a play of consciousness. The belief, I am the body, all of these things, they're fine. But it is our concept around them and about ourselves that creates the particular way in which our experiencing of the world and of ourself is based upon that. Now today I've shared with you for now what I feel is the most important things, the most important thing. And this we have made video on our site that you can listen to again and follow through, because whoever has followed through into the original seeing, the same capacity is in each and every one of you. If you don't have expectation, yes, I'm going to find it today, don't hold anything like this. Be humble, be earnest, be devoted to the search for truth. And you discover. You discover. In many cases, of course, this discovering is a gradual recognition, is deepening more and more. Gradually it's coming like that. Because we each assimilate at different rate. The more you deepen, the more power comes to you to go fully home. Home is where, when I say to go, this word is not really true, and it is true. It's not really true because the home you are going to go to is just yourself, it's right here. But it's not a physical distance, it is a distance of subtle understanding and gross misunderstandings. These are being transcended. By the grace of God, grace of the self, it is happening like that. So I'm very happy to have this chance to sit with you today. And please ponder a little bit. Just as we appointed now, this space, this is the ground of your self. Everything else is a traffic, a tourist coming and going in terms of thoughts and feelings, intention, dreams, habits. All of these can play. But you will understand how they appear and that they are only strong because of the significance and the attention given to them. As you pay more attention to this place that you have just discovered, you will see that the troubles of life begin to thin away, because they are only strong while you have the strong sense of personhood. And be patient. Patience and earnestness at the same time yield tremendously profound results in you. So, thank you for today. Namaste. My prayer and blessing is that each and every one of you who have this urge present in you, bless that whatever seeming obstacles appear to be in your way will be transformed into gracious opportunities for transcending, and that you will know that you have no natural enemy in the world apart from egoic identity and thinking. And you will continue to mature as you marinate your attention in the things that you see to be true. And don't try and measure yourself, say, oh, today I've grown so much. Leave it all to God. It's happening spontaneously and natural. Growth is natural. And just like in your physical being and physical body, your body is changing and growing without any effort, even as you sleep. So is grace with you throughout your day, consciously or subconsciously or unconsciously. The grace is still present with you. And if your attitude is for awakening to the true, for sure, it will stimulate your absorbing capacity, your assimilating capacity will be touched, darshaned by grace for that. So be it. All my love to you. All my love to you. And all my heart's wishes for you, best wishes for you. And if I may now just have the privilege of sitting with you for a few moments as we come to the end of today's satsang. And know that around about now I would still have been in India, as we are accustomed to being, and have done so for so many years. But you see, things can play, the play of Maya, play of time and change. But by grace you are here, healthy, and still in your satsang. You will use even these situations of the pandemic. All of these are signs for the true seekers of truth to deepen in their spiritual absorption to come into clearer and clearer recognition of that which is timelessly present within you as your core self and being. So, bless you. Thank you. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. God bless you. All peace and grace and mercy and power and strength for your awakening. Amen. I also feel just a few words to tell you that I want you to encourage you to see all your challenges, struggles, regard them as God-sent opportunities to flush out whatever remaining toxins that come from egoic identity. Don't be overwhelmed by them. And the way of not falling for that is don't take them personally. Even when seemingly personal things come, don't take them personally. Bring them to this place, or watch them from this place of untouched awareness. And even if it feels very difficult, stay with it. Trust in my words, and you begin to see by and by, you come to a place of great stability, equanimity, serenity, and deep, profound joy and love. So be it. And just accept, this is my time. This is my time. Yes, I'm fully under grace. I'm fully chosen for this moment. No part of my life is an accident. Everything is to bring me to this moment, to be released from Maya itself, from the grip of Maya. Then, as you become free, Maya become your friend.